I would say welcome to 2020 IAUSS International Educators Virtual Summit.
Education without borders, future without boundaries is the slogan of IAUSS. It has always been the idea of IAUSS to build a bridge of communication for higher educational institutions around the world.
And this is also where you find that international education becomes important because, you are able to then go actually see how people are in China, or the Chinese students can actually come and see how people are in, say, small town USA. They understand that the politics of it is a lot different than what the human being interaction is going to be. And so for me, that's always been the cornerstone of global relationship.
So during the COVID time, we've had to make a number of adjustments to ensure that our students can get the education that they desire. So going forward in fall 2020, all our classes will be online, with a few exceptions.
There are extensive isolation protocols and support services available to students. So they're basically sequestered to their rooms. And then after the first week, they will start more of a phased reopening for those students.
So as you can see from all three different schools that I have just presented on, three schools have very different approach to handling COVID-19.
Vivette, as you pointed out, Green River is offering online classes only, other than in specific majors, this fall. And so students have the right to do something called online now, in class later, to get a start on their education from overseas and not miss any time.
That the most important entry point to teaching online is really welcoming your students, and that really starts with smiling.
And I needed to make sure that my students were emotionally and they were connected and they were okay. If their professor was going to be okay, they were going to be okay.
I personally think that there's two roles. We have the instructor, we have the learner. Together, if it's active learning, it's a partnership. But I don't think it changes the role. I see faculty who think it's going to change the role, where they think, oh, now I have to be a technology expert. No, that's what you have support for. And students who think, now I'm not going to be, I could be able to connect with my peers or my instructor, and we've found that not to be true either.
But the question is how to engage our students and how to improve their experience in our new normal life.
So here's what I think for the future. I think for students that are either just coming out of high school or just starting their college career, they're going to want a choice. They're going to take some face-to-face classes, they're going to want some hybrid, and they're going to want some fully online. And I think the degrees we're going to see for the future, that's going to completely change.
Putting everybody together, all the departments who work together to create our Start at Home project or initiative.
And as problem solvers, we have to be ahead of the problems. We cannot wait. We have to start to think once we see there's something's gonna change.
People like AUS and IAUSS can help facilitate students building up their degrees across institutions, their modules across different institutions, across continents in different locations. The technology allows that to happen.
So there are certain types of things that institutions can do to make this transition in this temporary situation as pain-free in certain ways as possible, so that way students do continue to make progress towards their degrees.
So it's about looking above your campus walls and figuring out who else is out there. You know that through conferences like this. So it starts with relationships and looking for common needs, and then being willing to strategize. How might we do this?
We believe that it not only allows the organization and our students to grow in terms of their professional skills, but to grow in terms of their ability to serve our world internationally.
And as risk advisor, our advice to students is don't be afraid of risks, because risks exist everywhere and you cannot get rid of them. And the key is to understand, fully aware, and be prepared for it, and learn how to avoid the risk and how to manage and control the risk.
The question so we need to ask is like, how should we face the pandemic? How should we cope with all these challenges? And how can positive psychology help?
And we are in the middle of this massive transformation, and there's real-time learning taking place. And so the value, I think, of this conference and doing it now is let's start thinking, let's begin learning so that we can be smarter and better in how we treat higher ed.
As we wrap up this year's virtual summit, our quest for learning, innovation, and collaboration will continue. And as a proactive international educator, IAUSS hopes to continue to create opportunities and platforms that will bring together diverse conversations and workshops for problem solving and idea exchange. I invite you all to stay tuned to our next year's summit, as well as many other smaller conferences throughout the year.